The alarm goes off, and before your feet hit the floor, before the coffee, before the first thought about the day, you already feel it. The weight, the dullness, the sense that the night didn't do what nights are supposed to do. You got sleep. You know you got sleep. So why does it feel like you didn't? If that's you, I know that feeling. The reality is, waking up exhausted after a full night of sleep isn't a sleep problem. It's a nervous system problem. The part of you trained to scan for threats never fully stood down. It stayed on watch all night. And you cannot get 8 hours of restoration from a system that never clocked out. But here's what nobody tells you. The fix isn't more sleep. It's giving your nervous system permission to stand down. So before I show you what's actually happening while you sleep, here's a move I want you to try right now. And more importantly, I want you to try it tomorrow morning before you reach for your phone. It takes about 60 seconds. First, bring your attention to your forehead, right above your eyebrows. And don't try to change it yet. Just check. Is there some tightness there? A low-level brace. You know, most of us carry tension right there all day and never notice. It just becomes the background hum of the face. Now let it go. Forehead smooth. Eyebrows drop just one notch. Let your eyes go soft. Not focus on anything in particular, just easy. Now take one breath out, longer than the breath in, and don't push it. Just let it fall like setting something down. And say this out loud, not in your head. The night is over. There's nothing to watch for. Hold that for a moment. Notice if something in you resisted that, or if something, just a little, let go. Because what you just did is exactly what your nervous system needs to hear first thing in the morning. And the fact that it might not have felt completely true, that right there, that gap between knowing you're safe and actually feeling safe, that's what we're going to talk about. Here's what's actually happening in your body while you sleep, or while you're supposed to be sleeping. Your nervous system has one job. It runs automatically all day long. It scans, it monitors, it tracks what's safe and what isn't. And for most entrepreneurs over 40, that scanning has been running at such a high level for so long that it doesn't know how to stop, even at night. Think of it as a night watchman. In a well-run building, the watchman clocks in at dusk, does his rounds, and when the morning shift arrives, he clocks out. His job is done, and the building is safe. But in the nervous system, that's been a chronic stress for 10, 15, 20 years. The watchman never gets the memo. The morning shift is coming. So he keeps going, scanning, checking, bracing, all through the night. And somewhere in that building, trying to sleep is you. Now, here's where the science gets specific. Deep restorative sleep, the kind that actually repairs your body and resets your brain, only happens when the nervous system generally downregulates, when it lets go of monitoring long enough. But a watchman who never clocks out is not a downregulated nervous system. So the deep sleep stages get shorter, and the light sleep stages stretch longer. The brain keeps surfacing toward wakefulness, sometimes fully, in ways you remember, and sometimes in micro-arousals you never notice, but which interrupt the repair cycle every few minutes throughout the night. And then there's cortisol. In a regulated nervous system, cortisol rises in the first 20 to 30 minutes after waking to help you start moving, a natural, useful morning signal. But in a chronically activated nervous system, cortisol is already elevated before the alarm goes off. The watchman has been keeping it running all night. So when the morning spike hits, it doesn't give you energy. It stacks on top of an already high baseline and takes you straight into the edge, the tightness, the low-grade dread, the sense that you're already behind before the day has started. You got 8 hours, but the watchman never clocked out, and that's why the sleep didn't work. So what do we do when we wake up exhausted every morning? Well, here's what makes complete sense and almost never solves it. We try to fix the sleep. We download the sleep tracker. We buy the better mattress. We take magnesium glycinate and the melatonin, and we cut caffeine afternoon. We set a strict bedtime and a wind down routine, and we listen to the sleep meditation. which we fall asleep during at minute 3 and somehow still wake up tired. And some of those things genuinely help in isolation. Cutting caffeine late matters. A cooler, darker room is real. But here's what none of those address: the watchman. You can create the most optimized sleep environment there is, the right temperature, the right darkness, night supplements, and if the nervous system never downregulates, you're not fixing the sleep. You're just giving the watchman a nicer building to patrol. And honestly, the sleep tracker can make it worse. Not because tracking is wrong, but because checking your score first thing in the morning is often the first activation of the day. You wake up, reach for the phone, see a 71, and before you set up, your nervous system is already reacting. The watchman is already on his rounds. The reality is, sleep hygiene matters, but it sits downstream of a nervous system state. You cannot hygiene your way to restoration if the system underneath never actually stands down. The fix isn't the bedroom, it's in the wiring. So how do you actually give the watchman permission to clock out? Because here's the good news, and this surprised me when I first understood it. You don't have to fix your sleep to change how you feel in the morning. You have to give the nervous system 2 windows of permission. One before sleep and one the moment you wake up. Before sleep, the watchman needs to be officially relieved. That means giving the nervous system clear signals, not demands, signals that the shift is over. A long exhale, physical stillness, dimming the visual input, no phone in the last 30 minutes. Not primarily because of blue light, but because every notification is essentially a check-in. Still need me? And then in the pre-sleep window is your chance to say no, to hand the watchman his clock out card before the night starts. And then the morning. This is the one that most people skip entirely. The first 60 seconds after you wake up is when your nervous system is deciding what kind of day is about to happen. If the first thing it registers is a screen full of notifications and emails and news, the watchman is back on duty before your eyes are fully open. The day starts in urgency, and it never really comes down from there. But if the first thing it gets before the phone, before the coffee, before anything that asks something of you, is a moment of genuine ease, forehead soft, eyes quiet, one long exhale, the night is over, there's nothing to watch for. You're handing the watchman his release. And over time, you're teaching the system that mornings are safe, that the shift change actually happened. 8 hours of sleep with a watchman on duty is light sleep at best. And 60 seconds of morning permission practice every day starts to change what those 8 hours actually do. The deep sleep stages stretch a little longer. The cortisol spike normalizes. You start waking up feeling like the night actually ran its course. And I want to be honest about this because for years I was the person who woke up already in the middle of something. The alarm would go off and my brain was already there, already on the first problem of the day, already running the list, already in some low-level way of bracing before my feet hit the floor. I thought that was just how I was built. I called myself a morning person. But I wasn't sharp in the mornings. I was activated, and there's a real difference. The phone was the first thing I touched every morning before I sat up. I told myself it was efficiency. I was just getting ahead, not behind. What I was actually doing was handing the watchman his first assignment of the day before I'd had a single moment that was mine. And the reality is I didn't notice how exhausted I was in the mornings because I had caffeine and momentum and a full calendar to carry me past it. I just assumed tired was the price of the kind of work I was doing until I started paying attention to what was actually happening in those first 60 seconds after waking. Just noticing, was my forehead tight? Was my jaw already set? Was I already somewhere in my head before I'd even look out of the window? The first morning I tried the phrase out loud, "The night is over. There's nothing to watch for." I almost laughed because it felt obvious, completely unconvincing at the time. Obvious because it was true. Unconvincing because my body didn't believe it yet. And that gap between knowing something is safe and feeling like it's safe, that's the whole work. That's what the practice closes, one morning at a time. If this is you, if you wake up already tired, already tense, already somewhere else, I built something for exactly this moment. It's called the Calm in 7 Challenge. It's free. 7 days, one small nervous system practice each day, including the morning protocol we're about to walk through. It's not a sleep program, and it's not a productivity system. It's 7 days of giving the watchman permission to stand down, one morning at a time. You can grab it in the link in the description below. So let's walk through what this actually looks like as a daily practice, because this is the thing that actually changes the morning. I call it the morning protocol. And the rule is simple. Before the phone, before the coffee, before anything that asks something of you, 60 seconds. Here's exactly how. The moment you become aware that you're awake, before you sit up, before you reach for anything, you do this. Forehead soft, eyebrows drop 1 notch, eyes easy, not fixed on anything. One breath out, longer than the breath in. And you say out loud, the night is over, there's nothing to watch for. That is the entire practice, 60 seconds before anything else. Now, a few things about this that matter. First, say the phrase out loud, not in your head. Your nervous system responds to your own voice in a way that's different than your thoughts. Hearing the night is over out loud is a signal, not just a concept. It lands differently. Try it now again, and you'll feel the difference between thinking it and saying it. Second, the phone waits. Not forever, 60 seconds. But those 60 seconds are the difference between starting your day and having your day start you. Every morning, you reach for the phone first. The watchman is back on rounds before you've had a moment that was yours. Every morning, you take the 60 seconds first. You're handing him the clock out card before anything else gets to him. Third, and this is the piece that most people miss, do it on the good mornings too, not just when you wake up already depleted, because the nervous system learns from patterns, not from emergencies. The practice on the hard mornings teaches it that 60 seconds of ease is possible. The practice on the ordinary mornings teaches it that mornings are actually safe, and you need both. Because here's what's happening over time when you build this in. You're giving the nervous system consistent evidence that the shift actually happens, that waking up doesn't automatically mean going back on watch. And slowly, over weeks, not days, the morning cortisol spike starts to normalize. The deep sleep stages start to hold a little longer, and the watchman starts trusting that the morning shift is real. And one day, not the first day, and not even the 10th, you wake up and notice the forehead is already easy. And the first thought isn't a problem. Something in you actually resists it. That's not a new personality. That's the watchman who finally learned to clock out. So let's bring this all together. Waking up exhausted after 8 hours of sleep is not a signal that you need a better mattress, a higher sleep score, or more supplements. It's a sign that your nervous system has been standing watch all night, that the part of you trained to scan for threats never got the message that the night was over. And you cannot get 8 hours of restoration from a system that never stood down. What changes the morning isn't more time in bed. It's 60 seconds before the phone. Forehead soft, eyes easy, one long exhale. The words your nervous system needs to hear. The night is over. There's nothing to watch for. Done every morning, not just the hard ones, until your body actually starts to believe it. And the reality is, sleep was never the problem. Your nervous system just never got the memo that it was allowed to stand down. And the memo is 60 seconds. And that's all it takes to start sending it. If this hit home, go grab Calm in 7 Challenge. The link is in the description. And it'll walk you through the first 7 mornings. And if you know another entrepreneur who's been sleeping 8 hours and waking up already behind, they need to hear that the bed isn't broken. The watchman just forgot he was allowed to clock out. This is Dr. Sean. Make it a great day.